Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for the solo variant of Ark Nova. If you want to know my thoughts on this as a multiplayer game, you can definitely go check out our discussion on that. That run through is actually for 2 players anyway, and this game is phenomenal. It sings on all levels, and once again, this does something that is my favorite way, one of my favorite ways to play solo variants, which is, it's not necessarily a beat your own high score. Like Terraforming Mars actually has like criteria you need to meet, and it's like, oh hey, what'd you get on this game? You can do that here, but in all reality, it's just like, hey, do you have a positive score by the end of a certain number of rounds? Yes, you win. No, you lose. That is it. And whenever I was initially learning the solo game, I was taken aback about, like, okay, well, where are the solo rules? Like, how do you set up for a solo game? Because on the back of the rulebook, it's just like 3 things. It's like, hey, take that one disc, put cubes on it, and that's set up. I mean, yeah, you start with 20 or 10 or 0 appeal, and you don't have a break token, and it changes one rule. Like, you, at the end of your turn, you just move a disc over, and once you've moved all 7, then you initialize a break. It is such a clean way to play this game, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't see a reason to play this game any way else. Like, whenever I've played the multiplayer of Ark Nova, I was like, yeah, I don't want to play this any more than 2, because there is very little interaction between players, and this might come, as more player interaction might come in with more expansions. I know they've already announced a water expansion, I think. Yeah, that was this one. Or was that Meadows? I can't remember. Actually, so many animal games came out. I'm pretty sure that was actually Meadows. I don't think Ark Nova has announced an expansion yet. But yeah, you can kind of hinder other people. Playing venomous snakes will kind of hinder other players, but it's so minuscule that even if it's not as game destroying as like the Take That cards in Terraforming Mars. But even then, at a 2-player game, it's like you have no certainty of when breaks are going to end. Not that there's a race for the breaks to happen, but there is kind of a like, okay, I need to do this now, because then those cards will be taken away, and then so I can score it, and then that's just going to kind of, the game will devolve around, you have certain cards that will be like, oh, if you do this, break, so that's going to advance it. And I like that, because like on the card, you will naturally do this because you need more cards, otherwise you can't play the game, and that's just going to slowly increase the break track. And then if you want to gain money, if you really need money, you can do your sponsors to then break a certain number. Oh, I'm going to break 5, and I'm going to gain 5 money. And if you upgrade that, then it's 10 money, and that can go a long way. So it's not that the pacing of the game is like lengthened or anything with multiple people, but what the solo variant brings in is such a clean way of actually just playing. You don't have to worry about a single thing. You just play Ark Nova the way that you want to play it, and you have a timer. And this does something that a recent game that I played, Founders of Teotihuacan, was each as the increase in rounds, the less actions you get, and I very much enjoy that, because it always kind of balances out. Yeah, I get more actions as the game goes on because I have more stuff to do, but oh man, I need to do a lot, or like I'm trying to break like 0 victory points, and I really need to do that efficiently. Oh crap, I'm only going to get 3 actions, and then 2 actions, and then the game is over. My run through happened to just work itself out, and like if I was literally one turn behind, it wouldn't have worked, and I would have actually not. I don't think I would have been able to break it, but maybe I wouldn't have at least got positive 13 points. So, like, if you want to know my thoughts on the actual game, definitely go check out that discussion. But if you love Ark Nova, then there is no reason why you wouldn't love the solo variant. Because a lot of games take the solo variant and then complicate it. It's just like, yeah, we really tried to make it so we can appease to the solo gamers out there, but we didn't really try. Or to make this game work, we had to just break it so it's not even the same game anymore. No, it's like Ark Nova is such a fantastic game by like in multiplayer that it's like, oh yeah, just play it. Like, I cannot stress enough of how I actually looked over the entire rule book again, trying to find, okay, well maybe this is a different solo game thing. What am I missing? Because I couldn't believe at one cardboard piece, literally one cardboard piece. And what they did is, if you noticed by playing the game before, they have cards that if they do have player interaction, it's like, no, actually, it's just this now. Like, the inland Tapon is each player ahead of you on the peel track gains 2 Venom tokens. Well, no, now it's actually just you gain 2 X tokens. Okay, so it's not like you also have to weirdly set up the game in any way with like, oh, take out all these cards, and like even one card. There is one endgame scoring card, which I actually, funny enough, drew for setup, was the Biodiverse Zoo, which is gain 1 conservation point for each animal category of which you have more than the person to your right. All this says is, do not use, draw another card. Oh, okay. And everything else works. So they found a way to make a game that I don't think is necessarily that complex, but there's a lot of moving pieces. There's enough like forward thinking and combos that you want to do in turn, efficiency, that this is definitely not a gateway, and I don't even think it's I don't think it's like a next level game. I think it's probably the next one. But they found a way to turn this game into a solo variant that, honestly, I think is the best way to play it. You have no one to wait on. You have no one to race on breaks with. You don't even have to really worry about breaks. You don't even have to worry about that on your card, except for like the sponsors that say you just don't do the break, but you still get the money. So that's just out. The break steps still happen. You still have to, like, if you want increased hand size, and you still have to go get that university. None of the Venom stuff is removed. You don't have to even replenish that that area, because you can't have more than of the universities or sponsors of the same type, so you don't even have to fiddle with that. You still remove the 2 cards, and you still gain your income like it was a multiplayer game. And then you just get to not have the stress of trying to beat another player, or of potentially blowing out another player. If you do really well and they don't, their zoo doesn't work out as well, then it's like, okay, well, then I just get to play and see how this works out. You can try and go for different, and that's my favorite part of solo variants, is you can be like, I want to try this. How does this strategy work? And then you get to be like, oh, well, that sucked, or, oh, if I had this, that would work out better, without having the pressure of another player. Like, I probably never in a multiplayer game would have taken Naturalist Zoo as my option. That just seems like, oh, I'm not really building out my zoo? Well, that seems pretty difficult, but I did not. This is the lowest I've had of animals. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I had 8 animals in my zoo, and was able to get a positive 13 points just because of the synergy of sponsorships that I happen to get. And also, you don't have to worry about someone taking cards that you want. They don't even have anything in the solo variant of, okay, well, here's another dummy player. He takes, if you draw a card, he takes these, and if he can't take those, and then he has his own point track, he keeps these cards over here. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He just gets points. I'm so glad and relieved that they didn't even try to include something like that. It's such a pain in the ass when you're trying to deal with stuff like that. But so yeah, like it's so clean. I'm amazed. Like, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I was actually putting off doing the solo run through because I was like, I don't want to learn that, like, a solo variant for that game. Like, the box itself makes me think, oh, well, like the box size, it's like, well, it's going to probably be as complex as Vital Lasarda games, because they're trying to implement another player. I mean, one of my favorite solo variants of all time is Anachrony, because it is like, oh, hey, I'm playing against another person. And the good ones do that, where you don't have to finagle and do something weird, or where the AI gets free stuff and you're over here struggling and you lose because they just get free shit. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just do it when I get to it. And yeah, I would obviously play this with other people. I probably would never do 3 or 4 again, just because it's too long at that point. And this is a relatively long game. And that's the other thing about the solo variant. Time flew by. Like, I don't necessarily know how long the run-through took. Probably an hour and a half. And if it was anything longer than that, did not feel like it, because you're just constantly moving. You're like, I'm going to do this. Okay, boom, tick that. I'm going to do this. It's just always your turn. And you don't have to try and deal with an AI player. God, it's so good. Like, I'm so amazed by it. And that's my thoughts on the solo variant for Ark Nova. I can't really think of anything else. I'm glad they added a difficulty, like solo challenge. They say, so they have a special challenge, play 3 games in a row. In this case, do not shuffle the cards after each game. Instead, remove all cards from that particular game. Discard pile, display all your cards and all conservation cards, and set up the game with the remaining cards. Also remove the 2 zoo maps you had to choose from, as well as the 4 bits. So you kind of just have less options, like, to deal with. And that's, I don't know. I would never do that. I don't want to play 3 games of almost any game in a row. That just sounds kind of like a weird tacked on idea that they're like, hey, that'll be fun. What if we just do that? Like, they just had some drug-induced idea for a solo challenge. But they also say, depending on your experience, you can instead start the game with 10 or even 0 appeal. Starting the solo game with 0 appeal is quite a challenge. Feel free to play as many games as you like at each difficulty level. Like, hell, you could even, you can do increments of 5. There's nothing stopping you. You can be like, oh, okay, 20, then 15, 10, 5, then 0. Go down that way. I guess theoretically, if you're having a tough time, then you could also increase it. But I probably wouldn't do that. 20 felt good. Like, I would have still won had I gone down to 10. I would have had 3 points left over. But less than that, I would have lost. So I can definitely see how starting with 0 appeal is a challenge. But that's really all I can think of. If you want to know the nitty-gritty of how Ark Nova works and our thoughts on each mechanic, then definitely go check out our discussion for that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, Ark Nova is, as a solo variant, is an easy 10 out of 10. Like, I'm flabbergasted by, because normally, unless it's designed to be solo, like obviously, well, Hadrian's Wall is one of those where it's like, this is definitely a solo game. Apex, the Theropod deck building game, is like really designed to be a solo game, but they made multiplayer rules, so that's kind of a weird one. But normally, whenever it comes to, oh hey, back of the page solo game rules, okay, let's give it a shot. Very, very rarely do I look at that and be like, I might not even want to play this at 2. So I'm just amazed by it. So yeah, 10 out of 10 on the solo variant for Ark Nova. And that's my thoughts. So let me know what you think of the solo variant in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.